right here in Gurgaon. So it's always good to be back in a city that I really, really like. So I hope you've all had a great few sessions thus far. And Mr. Jaiswal, I couldn't help but nod at some of the things that you said. I myself have got a few calls. I supposedly sent some package on FedEx, and I was on the call for 5 minutes, believing that I did so when I really didn't. I've also got calls about insurance that I've invested in 5 years back and for which I had to pay something now. So yeah, thank you. I couldn't relate anything more to what you just said. The topic of my talk, as you can see on the slide here, is the potential for AI in cybersecurity 2025 and beyond. There are two keywords here, AI and cybersecurity. We are indeed at a crossroads today as we try to navigate these two things, AI and cybersecurity. On the one hand, we have all of these cyber criminals trying to leverage AI for all the bad reasons. And they are getting more and more sophisticated while they get access to these tools in a very, very simple manner. At the same time, we as cyber defenders have to fight the good fight and look at ways in which we can also use AI for all the good reasons. So I'll be trying to give a glimpse of all of these things in my talk today. So having said that, yes, my name is Ram, and I work as a cybersecurity evangelist at ManageEngine, which is a division of Zoho Corporation. We make a solution, an unified SIEM solution called Log360, which looks at every part of the network and alerts the user in case something does go wrong in their network. So here are some of the things that the adversaries of today are actually doing with AI. I'll take your attention to the right here with ransomware and the ransom note itself. The ransom note can be highly personalized for the recipient. And cyber criminals are hoping to make use of the fact that if it is highly personalized, then the chances of the ransom being paid is going to be that much more. Likewise, AI can be used to write malcode and completely adjusting malcode, depending upon the network itself and the intricacies of the network. In real time, AI can be used to adjust the malcode. It can also be used to identify files and only encrypt those files that are most sensitive. So that is how adversaries are actually using AI for ransomware. Likewise, there are a few other types of attacks as well. You have data poisoning attacks. Of course, for any AI model to work, you need some training data. Now, can you imagine a situation where a cyber criminal is able to get in and actually work or manipulate that training data? So in case the training data itself is manipulated, of course, the output is going to be really malicious. You also have input manipulation attacks and model inversion attacks. This is pretty interesting as well, where the cyber criminal is going to look at all the output that the AI model is going to give them, and then from there work their way backwards and figure out what the input was, in which case it could actually be real data of a real user. So this can really be useful, for example, in healthcare. So you have all of these outputs, and looking at all of these outputs, examining them, the cyber criminal is going to work out what the real personally identifiable information of the patient was. So this is the way it's evolving. So what do we have to do as cyber defenders? Well, here are some things that we have to do. First of all, we have to bring identity security, identity and access management, and security operations together in a very seamless sort of a way. And that is extremely critical if you want to reduce the risk. So it is imperative that we do a few things right, a few basic things. Identity hygiene for better cybersecurity immunity. So here you're looking at things like user provisioning, deprovisioning, and permissions management. You also have things like MFA and SSO, multi-factor authentication and single sign-on. And then not just that, if you want to bring your security operations on top of this, your system, your security analytics or operation system will have to respond to certain types of user action in real time. So that is automation and orchestration of IAM processes. Now going beyond that, so let's say that you have done all of these basic things. Going beyond that, what you can really do is bring in AI, and you have identity threat detection and response, which is AI driven. That is going to give you the automation and scale. That is going to enable you with real-time monitoring. It will also help the security analyst reduce false positives. This is a huge thing that CISOs currently are wrestling with, the influx of false positives. Where exactly do they have to focus on? And then, of course, your AI is going to help with deep learning. So it's going to look at all of these different complex patterns, figure out what is going wrong, and then help you make the right decision. So there are 3 different types of use cases that AI is going to help you with, and you have that right here. You've got predictive AI use cases for protection. You have prescriptive AI for detection, and reactive AI for remediation. Now, if you look at the general flow of how a security analyst actually operates in any organization, you have detection, and then once the detection happens, you have the alerts coming through. Then there is prioritization of these alerts because you can't treat every alert the same. The security analyst also needs to investigate the root cause and figure out what led to that incident in the first place, and ultimately they also have to respond to it. So that's the general flow of a security analyst. AI can play a role in each of these. So first up, you have predictive AI use cases for protection, and I would like to take your attention to the first point here, dynamic intelligent access control. So each and every time any sort of an access is being made, and let's say that the user does authenticate themselves, it's not that just because they have authenticated at a particular point in time, that authentication should stay for the entire session. It should be done in a very dynamic sort of a way. And depending upon the conditions under which the authentication has happened, whether the re-authentication needs to take place, well, that's got to be looked at by the system. By the way, this is a very, very important component of zero trust that Dr. Sahu was talking about in the opening keynote. You also have protective threat hunting. Now, there are so many cases where cyber criminals are lurking within the network, and statistics say that it can take up to 6 months for an organization to know that they were even there. So what if you have AI at your disposal to augment the security analyst? I'm not saying replace the security analyst, but augment them so that it is able to look for the telltale signs of such an instance. It is able to look at the conditions there. It is going to look very, very deeply, and it is going to actually proactively hunt for threats. And AI can also be used to predict attacker activity. For every organization, given its unique conditions, it could be predisposed to certain types of attacks. So this is where AI can help, looking at all of the different types of activities going on in the network. What are those types of attacks, and what is the attacker journey going to be? On top of this, just predicting the attacker activity, maybe it can also visualize the entire thing. So it can map out the entire network and tell the security analyst that this could be a possible path that the attacker would likely take. Then you have prescriptive AI use cases for detection. And the major point that I would like to make here is about UEBA. Now, UEBA has been around for some time. Primarily, there are different types of patterns that an ML-based model powered by UEBA will look for. You have time, count, and pattern anomalies. So with time anomalies, you're actually looking for activities that do not conform to the expected time ranges. When it comes to pattern, you're looking actually for associations. Let's say that in a particular stream of events, you have device A, device B, and device C. Now, is it okay for device A to be associated with B and for B to be associated with C? So you're looking actually for a pattern or a chain of events, and then looking for anomalies there. Is that okay or not? Count, well, you're looking for instances when a particular server, for example, has a whole lot of activities being done on it in a given time range, and it is actually anomalous. So whenever something of this sort happens, you want to be alerted about it right then and there. You also have intelligent phishing identification, where you're able to look at the contents of an email and not just the grammar itself, which any AI system should be able to do, but you should also be able to look at the tone, the context, the sentiment, and we are actually going towards an era where all of this is going to be possible with AI. Let's say that there is a URL embedded in that particular email, or there is a link and it's a malicious link. So your system should be able to resolve that link. Where does it actually lead to? Maybe the link has been shortened, or there are, it's going to be a looping sort of a link where it leads from A to B to C. Where does it ultimately resolve? All of that needs to be looked at when it comes to intelligent phishing identification. Reactive AI use cases for remediation. So I would like to take your attention to forensic analysis. So something has already happened, an event has taken place, but as good security analysts, we need to ensure that it doesn't happen again. We need to be prepared for such an occurrence in case it were to happen again. So all of this learning that we need to get, AI can help with that. AI can also help with training people in the right way. So let's say that a user is doing less than ideal actions on the network. Are we able to give, using an AI assistant, for example, immediate training right then and there, very contextual? So instead of waiting for the end of the year where a cybersecurity training is provided for all the employees, it just becomes an annual exercise. But what if we are able to give micro training at the time that a particular threat is detected? That will make it really, really contextual for that particular user, isn't it? So not only will they learn on the go, they'll also learn when it is most needed at the time that something is going wrong. That will be really, really helpful. AI can help with that. So what we are actually looking for or looking towards in the future is, you can imagine a future where a security analyst, or for that matter, any function, it could be a marketing person, it could be an HR person. We are looking at a future where they will be assisted by digital assistants powered by AI. So they can actually query the system, and all that they will have as an interface, now I'm talking a little futuristically here, all that they will have as an interface is a bot where they can query. And in the back end, you'll have AI agents, probably deciphering that query, breaking it down into simpler parts, and then giving an answer to that particular security analyst or even an HR professional. So at the end of the day, it's going to give all of these different impact, positive impact for organizations, improve overall operational efficiency, and responsible risk mitigation and management, and so on. So these are going to be the business benefits that organizations are going to get if they are going to use AI. Of course, like the speakers before me have highlighted, it does come with risk. India is still trying to figure out a whole lot of these cybersecurity laws. Dr. Dugal was able to take us through that. The DPDP, we need to figure all of that out. People say 250 crore penalty, if I'm not mistaken. So how is that going to be actually taken up? And in case, do we, as policymakers, does one or two organizations, do they have to be made an example of by levying such sorts of heavy fines before everybody catches on and says that yes, we are actually serious about it? So earlier I spoke about the identity and access management best practices. So this is the identity fabric, and if you really look at it, right, I touched upon some of these things, but in every part of this, you can actually have AI. You can have AI actually powering this in a much more streamlined fashion. By the way, this is also going to become critical when you're looking at zero trust architectures. So AI, at the end of the day, is just going to be another capability. Yes, it is a technology, but it is a capability that can streamline what some of the best practices we already had in place. So here are some use cases. I would be very happy to talk to you about this if you were to, come visit our booth, ManageEngine booth outside. I would love to have a personal conversation with you. But here are some of the things that AI and ML can actually achieve for you on the ground as a security analyst. So something like peer group analysis, where it is actually able to see the department that a particular user belongs to, and then compares the behavior of a user belonging to that particular department to the average behavior of the entire group. So let's say it's a marketing manager. Does this marketing manager actually behave in the same way that other marketing managers in the organization behave? So that sort of a peer group analysis, AI can also do, and it can dynamically put people into peer groups. This can really help not only detect threats, but also reduce false positives. Supervised machine learning for detection as well. So we have unsupervised learning and supervised machine learning. I'll just let you read this. So for example, let's say that you're actually able to train the system where you're at the beginning, when you're training it, you're able to give in the inputs and then the possible outputs. So it's going to get better with time. And then in case it does come across a similar occurrence later, it'll be able to flag it for you as an anomaly or something that is less than ideal. NLP query interface. A lot of security analysts are struggling with this. So let's say that they want to investigate a particular incident, what really went down. They can just use NLP. They can just use English language, and they'll be able to work with the AI system, which will actually understand this and then give them what they are actually looking for. So let's say that they are looking for a particular report of all anomalous logins in a given time period, or logins to a particular server, or the number of logins on a particular server. So it's a very simple report, but they just need to type it in normal English. The system is able to understand it and then able to give an answer to it. Summarization as well. At the end of every quarter, usually the IT security manager or the CISO will ask for a report. And let's say that the security analyst can actually go in and use Gen AI to make this report. So the AI system is able to analyze all the activity logs over the given time period and then produce that report. Of course, it is just going to augment the security analyst, so they'll still have to go in and make sure everything is right. They'll have to verify what it is actually given them, make the necessary edits, and then submit it to management. So what we're looking at here is making life really, really easy using this technology. So with that, I thank you all. Thank you so much. Bahut bahut dhanyawad.